We have a problem, Batman. Gotham needs you again.
The Hulk is rage-given form, a living weapon that grows stronger as it becomes angrier, turning Bruce Banner's suppressed emotions into planet-threatening power. He represents the ultimate loss of control. What happens when psychological restraint breaks down completely and primal fury becomes the only response to stimuli? The contingency protocol must account for a that operates on pure emotion rather than logic, whose strength has no theoretical upper limit, and whose destructive potential increases exponentially with the duration of any encounter. Banner's transformation isn't just physical, but psychological, replacing a brilliant scientist with a creature that thinks in terms of smash, crush, and destroy. The real danger isn't the Hulk's strength, but his complete unpredictability. He might save civilians or accidentally kill them, might target military forces or innocent bystanders, might stop when the threat ends or continue rampaging until exhausted. Fighting the Hulk means fighting an emotional storm that has taken physical form and gained the power to reshape landscapes through sheer tantrum. Physical capabilities make direct confrontation impossible for anyone without comparable strength levels, as the Hulk's power appears to have no ceiling and continues growing as long as he remains angry. His baseline strength can lift over 100 tons, but emotional escalation can increase this to levels that allow him to punch through dimensions or shatter tectonic plates. His healing factor repairs damage almost instantly, making conventional weapons ineffective and allowing him to recover from injuries that would kill normal humans within seconds. His skin becomes increasingly durable as his anger grows, eventually reaching levels where tank rounds off harmlessly, and even nuclear weapons cause only temporary inconvenience. The leap capability allows him to travel vast distances in single bounds, making containment through distance impossible. The strategy requires understanding that matching his physical capabilities is futile. The goal becomes avoiding direct confrontation while implementing methods that address his emotional state rather than his physical form. Emotional triggers are both his greatest weakness and most dangerous vulnerability, as understanding what makes Banner angry provides both targeting opportunities and catastrophic escalation risks. The Hulk's strength responds directly to emotional intensity, meaning that attempts to calm him down reduce his power, while anything that increases his anger makes him exponentially more dangerous. His rage operates on multiple levels: immediate threats to himself or others, feelings of betrayal or abandonment, reminders of past trauma, and most critically, attempts to control or contain him. The tactical approach requires careful emotional manipulation that de-escalates rather than provokes, using calming influences like familiar voices, peaceful environments, or reminders of positive relationships. The risk lies in miscalculation. The wrong word or action can transform a manageable situation into a global threat. Success depends on understanding Banner's psychology well enough to predict which emotional approaches will reduce rage rather than amplify it. Banner's scientific intellect provides the key to long-term solutions, as his genius-level understanding of physics, biology, and psychology makes him uniquely qualified to develop methods for controlling or curing his condition. When lucid, Banner has created technologies and treatments that can predict, prevent, or minimize Hulk transformations, though his emotional state often prevents him from implementing these solutions effectively. His research into gamma radiation, stress psychology, and biological transformation represents humanity's best hope for understanding and managing the Hulk phenomenon. The strategy involves supporting Banner's scientific work while providing the stable environment he needs to pursue solutions without triggering transformations. This includes protecting his research from those who would exploit it, providing resources for his experiments, and creating psychological support systems that address the root causes of his anger. The goal is empowering Banner to solve his own problem, rather than trying to control the Hulk through external force. Transformation patterns provide predictable windows of opportunity for intervention, as Banner's change into the Hulk follows consistent physiological and psychological stages that can be monitored and potentially interrupted. The process begins with elevated stress hormones, increased heart rate, and specific brain chemistry changes that can be detected through medical monitoring. Early intervention during these warning signs offer the best chance of preventing full transformation through sedation, psychological intervention, or environmental modification. The transformation itself takes approximately 30 seconds, during which Banner experiences pain and disorientation that make him temporarily vulnerable to non-threatening assistance. Post-transformation. The Hulk typically experiences a period of confusion and orientation during which he can be influenced through calm communication rather than aggressive confrontation. The reversal process occurs when his anger subsides sufficiently, creating another vulnerable period where Banner regains consciousness but may be disoriented and exhausted. Collateral damage assessment reveals that the Hulk's destructive potential depends largely on the environment and response tactics used against him, making proper handling critical for minimizing civilian casualties. Urban environments amplify his destructive capability by providing improvised weapons and creating panic that feeds his anger, while open areas limit his ability to cause structural damage, but may allow him to travel greater distances. Military response typically escalates the situation by treating him as a hostile target, rather than a victim of uncontrolled transformation, turning defensive reactions into offensive capabilities. The damage limitation strategy involves rapid civilian evacuation, channeling his movement toward unpopulated areas, and avoiding actions that increase his anger levels. This includes establishing clear evacuation routes, maintaining communication with emergency services, and most importantly, ensuring that response teams understand the difference between containing a criminal and helping a victim regain control. What do you think, Alfred?
Master Bruce Banner represents one of the most tragic cases we might encounter. A brilliant man whose greatest fear is the monster he becomes when he loses control. The Hulk isn't evil. He's a manifestation of Banner's suppressed rage and pain given physical form. Perhaps the most important consideration isn't how to fight the Hulk, but how to help Banner find peace with himself. His transformation stems from trauma and self-hatred that he's never properly addressed. Sometimes the most strategic approach to dealing with a monster is helping the person who created it learn to love themselves enough to want to change. The goal should be healing rather than defeating, understanding rather than controlling.
Alfred's perspective highlights the fundamental difference between treating the Hulk as a threat versus treating Banner as a victim who needs help. The strategy must prioritize Banner's psychological healing over Hulk containment, recognizing that addressing root causes produces better results than managing symptoms. This involves providing Banner with access to trauma therapy, creating support systems that address his isolation and self-hatred, and developing environments where he can work on his condition without fear of exploitation or judgment. The approach requires understanding that Banner's transformation isn't just a scientific accident, but a psychological manifestation of unresolved trauma that requires emotional healing rather than just medical treatment. Success means helping Banner develop healthy coping mechanisms and self-acceptance that reduce the frequency and intensity of transformations. What do you think, Robin?
Bruce, this guy is basically dealing with anger management issues, except his anger turns him into a walking natural disaster. Yeah, that's scary, but it's also really sad. Imagine being afraid of your own emotions because they literally turn you into a monster. The solution isn't fighting him. It's helping him learn better ways to deal with stress and anger before they build up enough to trigger the transformation. Most people get angry and maybe say something they regret. He gets angry and accidentally levels a city block. The focus should be on giving him tools to manage his emotions and creating an environment where he doesn't have to be afraid of himself all the time.
Robin's straightforward assessment emphasizes practical anger management and emotional support over complex containment strategies. The approach involves developing real-world solutions that address Banner's daily struggles with emotional regulation, including stress reduction techniques, anger management training, and lifestyle modifications that minimize transformation triggers. This includes creating safe spaces where Banner can experience normal human emotions without fear of catastrophic consequences, establishing support networks of people who understand his condition, and developing early warning systems that can provide intervention before anger reaches transformation levels. The strategy treats Banner as someone who needs help managing a medical condition, rather than a threat that needs controlling, focusing on prevention through emotional wellness rather than response through force. Technological solutions focus on developing monitoring and intervention systems that can detect transformation signals and provide automated responses that don't require human operators to risk exposure to the Hulk. Advanced biometric monitoring can track Banner's physiological changes in real time, providing early warning of impending transformations through heart rate, brain activity, and stress hormone measurements. Automated sedation systems can deliver precise doses of tranquilizers during the vulnerable transformation period, while environmental controls can modify lighting, temperature, and sound to create calming conditions that reduce anger triggers. Communication systems designed specifically for Hulk encounters can broadcast familiar voices or calming messages that might penetrate his rage, while recording systems can document his responses to different approaches for future reference. The technology must be designed to help rather than control, recognizing that Banner's cooperation is essential for any long-term solution.